What's going down, y'all? It's one half of the Wake Up Crew. Ray G here to talk some NFL prop plays over on PrizePicks for this week 11, November the 20th, 2022 NFL slate. If it's your first time over here on the station, first time on the channel, I don't make you pay for picks. We just walk you through the process, show you the data, tell you what we're rocking with today. All I ask is that you hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Subscribe, like the content, comment below. Let us know what you're rocking with. If you want to be a part of our Discord community, again, come join in. We're talking prop plays all the time. Patreon.com/allgas. But as always, take what you like, leave what you don't. Just hit that thumbs up button on your way out. But let's get into the plays. And I want to talk about one Justin Fields. I am staying in the Justin Fields Flames today versus the Atlanta Falcons. And I want to target his fantasy score of 22 versus Atlanta. I like the over on this one. Checking out the 33rd teams. Shout out to this awesome tools. Edge tool over here by the 33rd team. Looking at what these defenses do versus quarterbacks. And the Atlanta Falcons, you see right here, they're about 9th in the NFL, giving up 19.3 fantasy points per game to quarterbacks. But you can also see they have yet to face a quarterback like Justin Fields. Per game, they're only giving up about 2 rush attempts and 8 yards to quarterbacks. We know that is not going to be the case today versus the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields. And then you look across the board at how bad Atlanta is versus other positions. They're 13th, giving up about 99 rushing yards per game to running backs. They're giving up the most receiving yards per game to wide receivers. Right here, tops in receptions in the NFL, fantasy score, the most fantasy score versus wide receivers in the NFL. And then if we go to tight ends, there go the Falcons again inside the top 10 at just allowing points, allowing yards, allowing fantasy score, all of that stuff versus the skill position players. This should lead for a very, very productive day for Justin Fields. I like the over his fantasy score of 22. Now, I want to talk about a play from the Dallas-Minnesota game. Tony Pollard, more than 42.5 rushing yards. We see what he's done over his last 5 games. Now, Zeke Elliott is returning from knee injury, and I don't think it matters. You see when Tony Pollard, 115, 131, 83, 44, and then 86, cruise past this number. And on the books, Tony Pollard is still, you can see him on PointsBet over 45.5, on DraftKings 43.5 with juice to the over. This is why I like it. Ezekiel Elliott's going to get his carries, but Tony Pollard is the more explosive back. They are not going to turn away from this young man carrying the rock in a game that they really need to win versus a Minnesota defense that's tough. But Dallas has weapons on the outside. I still like Tony Pollard a lot in this matchup. Give me more than 42.5 rushing yards for Tony Pollard in this slate. Now, let's talk about a play that I see a lot of people on. I like the play. The data makes sense. He runs the most yards out of the slot, the most routes out of the slot. He's top 5 in slot routes in the NFL. We know that the Jets defense is very, very difficult, but Jacoby Myers in this matchup, and I checked the weather out over there in New England. We see gusts of 31 miles per hour. So I highly doubt Mac Jones is going to be pushing the ball down the field with any sort of consistency. And if we just check where the books are on Jacoby Myers and his receptions, because I do like it versus the Jets, 4.5, and it's about even money. We got one sports book taking the under on here, DraftKings. It's a little bit of juice to the under, and I really think that is due to the weather concerns, but I still like Jacoby Myers more than 4 receptions in this one. I want to target bad defenses, and we're not going to overthink this at all. I really think you can play both of these guys, but Houston, and let's go back to the 33rd team's edge tool and look at defenses versus the running back. Houston, number 1 in the NFL, giving up 32.4 fantasy points per game to the running back position, 28 rush attempts, 156 yards per game against the running back, averaging almost 5.5 yards per clip. It's target the Texans season, right? So Brian Robinson, more than 63.5 rushing yards. And even if you wanted to, let me see what Gibson is. Antonio Gibson, he's at 46.5 rushing yards. Let's see what Gibson is on the books, just to see if there's a little better value with Gibson than Brian Robinson. But I know B-Rob is going to get all the damn carries. 45.5 for Gibson. And I think Robinson, we're still getting some value on, that's Bijan Robinson who had a big day, but I think we're still getting some value with Brian Robinson Jr. Yeah, 64.5, 65.5, heavy juice to the over. I would actually put Myers 4th on this. If you want to leave that alone, I wouldn't mind it. I would prioritize those bad boys. Justin Fields' fantasy score, Brian Robinson's rushing yards, Tony Pollard's rushing yards, and then Jacoby Myers here at 4 receptions. And the last play that I want to talk about, again, trying to target bad defenses, trying to target defenses that give it up versus pass catchers. And right now, the Raiders and Broncos game, the Raiders are pretty bad. They are pretty bad versus the wide receivers you see right here. Number 10, allowing 157 yards per game to the wide receivers. Catch rate, number 1 in the NFL versus the wide receivers. Fantasy score, where are the Raiders at? My Raiders, number 12, giving up about 34.3 fantasy points per game to the wide receiver position. 5 against the tight ends. This is not a good defense whatsoever. And right now, the Broncos are banged up and hurting. No Jerry Jeudy. KJ Hamler in and out of the lineup. So this should lend well for Courtland Sutton in this matchup. I really like the receptions at 4.5 for Courtland Sutton. The yards, we know Sutton can do this in 2 plays. He's a big play threat. But the 4.5 receptions, I don't mind that at all for Courtland Sutton. I have put him on a couple of tickets, mixing and matching that. Let's see what Courtland Sutton is on the books right now to see if this has moved at all. 3.5. Wow, I wish we caught that. You see, it's juiced to the under a tad bit for the receptions, and the yards, where are the receiving yards at? 61.5 with juice to the over. So that's probably the better play. Right here, Caesars minus 132. I like Sutton in this matchup. I like the receptions and I like the yards if I had to go one or the other, since we're getting some value there. More than 60.5 receiving yards for Courtland Sutton. But I think everybody's in on this Brian Robinson play today because the Texans defense is just the worst. It's awful. Tony Pollard, I think this is sneaky good value for Pollard. I do not believe the Dallas Cowboys are going to give Zeke Elliott all the work that he can handle. In Justin Fields versus a bad defense, we want to target those bad defenses on overs. Those are 5 plays for this Sunday. Again, if I had to prioritize them in order, Fields would be my number 1 play, followed by Brian Robinson, Tony Pollard, probably Courtland Sutton, and then Jacoby Myers at 4 receptions versus the Jets. He's not going to see Sauce Gardner. So that's what we're rocking with today on this Sunday. So, as always, take what you like, leave what you don't. Just hit that thumbs up button on the way out. Subscribe, like, and if you want to be a part of the Discord community, again, nothing official. We're not some hardcore, come pay $50 a month. You pay $7 a month. You can get in and listen to all the prop stuff. We drop cheat sheets, all kind of stuff for $7 a month over in our Discord, patreon.com/all gas. We got NBA plays dropping a little later today. As always, if you tail, give PrizePicks hell, and if we fail, do not bail. We'll be back with more plays on the channel. Enjoy Sunday football. Good luck and good night. I'm out. Peace.